So, Aston, thanks very much for coming on. How's things with you, mate?
Yeah, all good, mate. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all, mate. No problem at all. So, for people who don't know who you are, just give us a brief overview of what you've been up to and what you do, because you're absolutely smashing it, mate. You're killing it. So, give us a brief overview of what you do.
Sure, yeah. So, I'm co-founder of a property investment and development company. Started with me and my two business partners. We've now got another sort of equity shareholder in the company, a couple of staff. And so we focus on, well, originally we focused on deal sourcing. Figured out that, you know, it's a good model, it's a good way to make money, but to get all three people out of work when you're in a 9 to 5, like, you're going to have to be selling a shit ton of deals.
Yeah.
So it didn't really work for us. And then, you know, I guess we'll go into it when we talk about raising finance, but we came across an investor, raised a load of finance, and then just went and built a big portfolio. So we purchased 50 houses in 12 months, sold quite a lot overseas, and now we've got, currently we just hold a portfolio of 26 HMOs, and then we also do bigger sort of projects as well. So we have 2 children's homes that we've just been sort of developing. One's finished, one's done in the next month or two. And then we've got a site in M1 in Piccadilly, which is pretty much our flagship site. That's the first scheme we've ever done that's not gone to a supported living provider. Yeah. So it's straight on the open market or through sort of wealth managers and things like that. Yeah. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
It has been a crazy ride for you, mate. Fucking hell. Like, yeah, 50 properties at like 20, 23. It's absolutely crazy, and it's mind-boggling, especially at like 20 when you weren't. So 20, you had no experience, no knowledge. Is that right?
No, I went college, I went uni, did geography at uni in Leeds. Love Leeds, it's great city. But geography, I think after the first week, I just fucking hated it, and I was like, wow, I don't know how I stuck it out for 3 years. And then just went straight into a 9 to 5. Moved house sort of closer to where my job was. I worked in e-commerce. So it was good to progress there, did all right there, and then my 2 business partners and now we started speaking on how we can get into property. They did the typical, went to a crash course, didn't pay for any training, thank God. And we just bounced ideas together. And then, just started deal sourcing. Yeah.
So your business partners then, where did they, are they just mates?
Yeah, so they are twin brothers.
Okay.
Look nothing like each other.
Yeah.
And I know Adam from school. We went to the same school.
Yeah.
Was on the same bus together for like 7 years. So.
Are they all so you're all the same age? Twin brothers, yeah? Did you say?
Yeah.
So all the same age, obviously.
Yeah, all the same age.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
That's funny. So that's mad. So all young lads and absolutely smashing it then. So straight into it, where did you sort of find an investor from? Obviously, at this point, had you bought no properties at all?
No, so we'd bought 2 properties.
Oh, okay.
In the northeast. So we deal sourced a little bit and met some guys in the northeast who were doing like Mares, you know, Mares and Serco, sort of social housing providers. So they worked with Mares and they were like, listen, do you want a couple of properties? And we were like, shit, like we have no money, I don't know what to do. But we were like, yeah. So the way that went down was, obviously we had no money. And you know, some people say, oh, it's daddy's money and things like that. But I got my dad to refinance the family home.
Seen that, yeah.
Mum was livid.
Yeah, I was going to say, he must have been fuming.
Yeah, Mum was livid. She weren't happy at all. And like every day I was getting a phone call, have you got the money yet? I'm like, no, it's in 2 shitholes in the northeast. So yeah, they did that, and I think it was probably about 100 grand. The house is, I mean, this was like 4 years ago, and the disparity on what you can buy a house for now to 4 years ago, we were buying the house like 40 grand. Spent 25 on them for a HMO conversion, which now a HMO conversion is like 45, 60, 100 grand. Got a lease in place and shifted them overseas into Hong Kong. I think we've probably made 25, 30k profit on each, and then we were like, oh shit, pay my dad back, and then we just got cracking.
Yeah, that's incredible, mate. That is absolutely incredible. There's a few things I want to dig into, but how did you come across the Hong Kong thing? Like, how did you come across, because I've heard that a few times from different people, you know, overseas investors and that. How did you get switched onto that?
So there was a guy who, so in the early days, Adam came out of work first, did like an unbelievable job at getting on the ground, speaking with estate agents and just networking with people. He came across a guy who was doing social housing, and I swear to God, nobody else was doing it. Like, you got the people that have done it for the last, like, 20 years.
Yeah.
But, like, it was not even a thing. And we got speaking to him, and he was speaking about how he buys them or sources them, and then sometimes it goes overseas, and we were like, overseas, like, where would it go? And I think one day he mentioned Hong Kong, and then we were just relentless. Like, LinkedIn, filter by Hong Kong, connect to every person in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, it was like, it was that crazy when we were like 23.
Yeah.
Messaged them all, and then sometimes you get an in. We've got someone at the moment who is just a lady out in Hong Kong that has just got a bank of friends that we can send a deal to, and she'll sell it. And then just as simple as it is, going through standard, like, off-plan agents. You know, like the agents that sell stock in Liverpool and in Manchester, they have obviously routes all over the world. So they started selling into Hong Kong for us. So I think we've probably sold about 25.
I heard you say that. So what you were just asking them and saying, do you have any contacts in Hong Kong or wherever?
So, yeah, so ring up an off-plan agent, can we have a meeting? Yeah. And I'd say, you know, do you sell social housing HMOs? And they'd be like, not sure, don't know what it is. So we were like, right, educated them on it, and they were like, all right, this is cool, it's got a lease attached to it, and we can sort of suppress the yield when we're shifting overseas. Tried it, like, it was received really well from the overseas market. I think it's died down a lot now, especially over the last 6 months, 12 months. People that invest from Hong Kong into the UK are very wary of any sort of economic changes. So, it was just...
That's incredible,
as
mate.
simple as that.
It seems simple, but, like, I don't think many people, well, they clearly don't, because not many people are doing it, have the curiosity to sort of ring these people and connect with these people. But for anyone listening who might not know, what is an off-plan agent? So,
off-plan is a big developer.
Yeah.
So, in Manchester, Salboy. They are developing some towers in Manchester, and these agents, try to give you an example of an agent like Night Knocks. We've never used them before, by the way.
Yeah.
But they will sell properties off-plan. Yeah. It is literally what it says on the tin, like off the plans. Yeah. So it's not been built yet, and they'll give CGIs, numbers, breakdowns, and then people will pick a unit, put a 20-25% deposit down, exchange within 28 days, and then they get a mortgage in completion. But that completion might be like 3-4 years away.
And surely you're offering them a lot more than they're getting from the likes of that, aren't they? Is that right? In terms of a return on investments?
Yeah, exactly. If you're buying somewhere in Manchester, you're getting like 4-5% net.
Yeah.
We were offering, we sell at 7.6%, weird number, just worked, on like a 7-year lease, full FRI, so no maintenance, no management, council tax. And I think it's good for them because it was just a different avenue. Yeah. It's like if somebody said, I don't want to buy a city centre apartment, they didn't really have anything else. Yeah. So it was like, well, we've actually got some houses here that are a HMO. Could this be of interest?
That's incredible, mate. So what was the plan to just, obviously, I imagine you did 1, 2, 3 and you know 4, and then you were like, oh my God, let's scale this and smash it, basically. Was that the case?
Yeah. So we did the first 2 and then we were still sourcing, and we sold a deal to high net worth, a friend of a friend. Just sold his business for tens of millions of quid. He was 36, 37, didn't know what to do with his money, and he wanted to get into property. So we sourced him like a buy-to-let, paid us $2,500. We sourced him a Serco deal, paid us $2,500. And then he was like, I really like this, how do I get involved? So we were like, well, cash is our biggest bottleneck, knowing what we knew then it was anyway. And he was like, well, what if I buy into the company and give you basically a war chest? So originally it was, I'll buy into the company and I'll loan the company £1 million. And we'll aim to buy 1 house a month for 12 months. Within that time, I think the first month, obviously there's a run rate where you don't actually buy the complete on the property until like the 3rd month. Yeah. Because of the way it all lines up. But it got to the stage where like the first month we bought 5. And then we bought 5 properties a month for pretty much 12 months. That's mad. And I think it was about 3.6 million he ended up loaning in.
That's mad. So you must have been happy with the deal you sourced them then?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's good. It's been a good journey. Like, he put a lot of faith in us. Yeah. Like, we put faith in him. But sometimes you just need that break. And so when people ask me now, what's the best way of raising finance? I think there's 100 different ways to do it, but a good way to do it is deal sourcing.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of switching the mindset from, I can sell you this deal for $5,000, but if I just ask one question of, why don't we do the deal together? And it's completely hands off.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, let's do it. Let's JV.
Yeah.
Then straight away you've got your first investor.
That's incredible, mate. And I don't think many people are thinking about that either. But that's it. That's interesting. What a story you've got there. And what was the point where you thought, like, shit, this is getting real? Do you know what I mean? What was that point? Were you maybe 5, 6 in, or was it when you got the investor finance? Obviously,
I think it was probably, it's when all the refurbs start kicking in.
Yeah.
So within that 12-month period, it probably went over into like a 16-month period. But we bought the house, refurbed it, and leased all 50 within like that 12, 16-month period. So there was like 50 refurbs going on, and typically that was it was between 5 and 7 at any one time. So that was when it got real, because we'd never even refurbed a house really before. Someone else had always done it for us. So it then got to a stage where we had to get systems. We had like 10 staff in the office, project manager, operations manager, admin, finance. And like, you sat in the office like 24 years old.
That's mad.
With like millions of pounds. Like, I think we spent 2 million quid in refurbs that year. It was like every day just like 40 grand out of the bank, and it's like, shit. Like, it was just a crazy time, to be fair.
Yeah.
But obviously we then leased them to supported living providers, and we were getting rental income on 20-year leases.
Yeah.
We were doing all right. We were probably making anywhere between 35 and 40k net a month just in rent. But it all came crashing down when the providers went into liquidation.
Yeah.
Which was
I've seen that. I've obviously commented on a few of your posts with that, the provider who sort of just left the house. That's crazy. What happened there? Obviously, you had a house and they just left it to rot. Obviously, you've got it's not like me where you've just got a few projects or whatever on the go and you can just go and check on a house. If you've got like 50, it must be a fucking headache, mate. So what was the case with that then?
So that was, they leased the property, and this was basically their downfall. That's why they went into liquidation. So for people that don't know, when like a CIC or charity or a housing association give you a lease on the property, they then get tenants into the property. They then have to make like a housing benefit claim to the council to get paid the rent for those people that they're offering the support. They take their cut, they pay us our cut. And what was happening is they were giving loads of leases out and getting loads of cash up front, like a year's rent up front from us and from thousands of other people. They weren't filling the properties, so they weren't getting any rent from the council, but they were still obliged to pay me my rent. So what was happening, they were taking like a block of 20 flats where the rent roll might be 100 grand a year. They were taking 2 years rent up front from the developer, 200 grand cash, and they were paying people's rent out of that 200 grand.
Wow.
So it was a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
And that eventually they were the biggest homeless like housing CIC in the country to the biggest REIT in the country at the time, and they both nearly collapsed. Well, the housing providers collapsed, and the REIT was so close.
That is crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's mad. And that's obviously because I don't know if this is still the case, but can anyone set up a social housing provider? So it's not regulated?
No. So there's a big difference between a housing association and like a housing provider. Housing association are regulated by the regulator of social housing. To be regulated, it used to be able to take you like 6 months, like 7, 8 years ago. Now you've got to be in business for like 6 years, or you can buy one, which some people have done, which is a great strategy. To be a CIC, that is just a limited company. It's just literally a limited company, community interest company. So they can just set that up, go to the council and say, we're putting homeless people in here. There's our housing benefit claim, pay us. But obviously these guys were making millions and millions per transaction, just because they were getting capitalisation and sinking funds up front.
That's absolutely crazy to think they got away with that. Like, that is mad.
Yeah. For us, it meant we had the portfolio making like 35, 40 grand a month on a 20, 25-year lease. Mate, we were on the fucking beach. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm done. Like, this is fucking completed the game at 25. Like, this is sick. they went into liquidation, which means that everything stops. So our rent from like 40k a month to 0 overnight.
That's mad.
Over the last 9 months, we've had 0 rent. So how do you sustain a company
like that,
which has got 0 rental income? And we don't have like a cash flow business. That was our cash flow business.
Yeah.
So like last year, easily the worst year of my life. Easily the worst year I've ever had in business. And I genuinely don't think anything could ever be worse. So I feel like now moving forward, we know a lot of stuff, obviously going to make mistakes, massive fuck-ups, but I genuinely don't think anything can sort of like touch us, because that was just
Have
the
you
worst.
recovered from that now?
Yeah, so what we're doing is I completely refuse to work with CICs. Completely refuse to work with any housing associations or providers, bar a few. So the government-funded ones, there's only 3 of them. Everyone thinks that all providers are government-funded. They're not. There's only 3 in the country. And there is a couple other providers that I work with that are fully regulated. So we work with one at the moment that's regulated by Ofsted. So rigorous checks, and we'll work with them. But I didn't want to just chuck another 25-year lease on. Very easily could have shot straight back up to the 40 grand a month, but it just, the sustainability wasn't there. So now we work pretty much directly with the council, with a management agent in the middle, and our rent. So say we were getting £70 per week per room on a HMO room. Now we get about 140. So our rent's doubled.
Yeah. Incredible.
But obviously you have to take care of the management, the maintenance, and the council, and the council tax and bills. So that's a bit more stressful.
That's mad, mate. That's like a fucking Netflix documentary, that, isn't it?
Mate, people just don't believe it.
Yeah.
And it's...
But surely you're, like, obviously, you had a lot of properties through them and stuff, but surely loads of people... I've never heard about this, you know? So...
Yeah, I'll send you some stuff later.
Mate, there must be pure people who have gone through this, and, like... Like,
crazy.
Luckily, you've come out the other side, but that could have wrote you off, couldn't it?
Yeah,
Which is crazy, like, but...
And the mad thing was, like, the big REIT, they're buying like a yield. So say I buy in at 10% yield, I'll sell it to someone at like 7% or 7.5%. So the purchase price goes up because they're buying like a long income, basically buying a company. The REITs back in 3 years ago were buying at like 5%. So people would get big portfolios together, £20 million worth. Property's probably worth 10 million, and the REIT would buy it for 20 million. So the REIT, I think they nearly had £1 billion portfolio. Their asset value is probably about 400 or 500 million. So when the rent stops coming in, you can't even just sell them on the open market and get the money back, because they're worth half of what they bought them from. That's mad.
That is mad, mate. That's blew my mind, to be honest. Crazy.
It's the Wild West.
It is
of social housing.
Yeah. But that people aren't speaking about that stuff, though, because everyone likes to say, like, I know you've done posts on this yourself, but I didn't know it was that deep. Like, I didn't know it was that deep. That's quite moody, but everyone thinks that, like, social housing's like bulletproof and risk proof, and funnily enough, I know it's not. It's an investment at the end of the day. I know it's not 100% safe, but I was just saying to the last guest, like, you know, lenders are being a bit cautious. But now I was thinking, why? It's like there's not much more safer option than that. But you realise, fucking hell,
it's built on sand.
Yeah,
it's completely fucked. Like, there's people offering investments at the moment in social housing and posting and running ads and things, and it says no risk investment, and it's like,
there's no such thing as well as there is a no risk investment. But how were the your business partners in that sense? Were you all like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, we had to sack staff. We had one of our good mates that worked for us, had to sack him. It's probably stuff that it's good that we went through it so early.
Yeah.
And you learn from it. But yeah, I remember the day it happened. We always said, what is the worst thing that could happen in this entire company? And it was that provider going bust. And then the day they went bust, it was like, oh shit. We just sat in a meeting room banging our heads against the wall. I was like, are we done? But again, lesson to learn, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to think, like, yeah, obviously. But when things are going good, you double down on it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it goes drastically wrong.
Yeah. And obviously, like you say, how profitable you were and stuff like that. And then crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy. So the one you've got in Piccadilly then, that's what's the plan with that?
So when all this social housing stuff happened, we basically said that, like, we need to diversify, whether that's provider, whether that's into a different sort of space. So we decided that commercial commercial to resi was like the play that we wanted to do. So we've done two smaller ones and then the one in Piccadilly. The one in Piccadilly is, I think it's 4,000 square foot, listed building, M1 postcode. You can't get any better location in Manchester. Yeah. And believe it or not, 4,000 square foot, it's going to be 4 flats. So the flats are huge. Yeah. Like 3 beds, 2 beds.
That's mad.
So yeah, it's an exciting project, but
yeah,
again, that's a bit of a beast. Yeah. And we learn as we go, and we've never done one of that scale. Yeah. In Manchester, and the building. So we own one of the floors of it, and the building is over 80 metres high, and Jesus. That means that it falls into like the government sort of government regulations for fire strategy, which has only just come out. It's called Gateway 2, that no one knows about. It's probably a handful of people that have been through it in the country. But we have to go through it to even build it out. So there's a lot of still curveballs that happen all the time. Yeah.
And is this investor funded? Have you got investors on board for this one? Or
yeah, so I think what we've been really good at is raising finance. Yeah. Like that's probably my main job. All I do every single day is wake up and think, how do I go and raise money? I don't do anything else. I don't find deals. And we have our set roles within the company. So initial investment was from the equity investor in the company, who we didn't know, by the way. It wasn't like a friend. It was introduced by somebody else. And then raise 100 grand, 200 grand here and there for other projects. And then we used to sell our stock through a wealth manager. They've got like $1 billion assets under management, so they're a big company, and they have like a property division that was just selling some of our units overseas in Dubai and Hong Kong. And one day they obviously wanted a piece of the pie as well, and we're like, how do we get involved? So we were like, money. So they raised a bond out in Dubai, and I think they raised like 5 million quid in like 4 weeks. So that bond is basically something that we can just draw down on and use.
That's incredible,
for projects.
Mate. That's incredible.
Yeah, but again, that's all through networking, and
yeah,
there's no magic code to it.
Do you not? No. How are you network? Well, I don't know if you still, obviously you are still networking now, but how was your networking at the start? Was it your traditional network meetings and stuff like that?
Probably went to 1 or 2. Yeah. They just weren't for me.
Yeah, they're not for me, mate, at all, to be honest. Horrible, aren't they?
My networking is over a beer. Yeah. It's like, let's go to the races, let's, you know what I mean, go have a laugh. Yeah. That's where we do business. Like yesterday is a prime example. I went to watch City Villa. I'm a Villa fan. Bad night. I went and sat in, and I always tell people, put yourself in situations where rich people are and have conversations. I was sat in Dakota in Manchester, a beautiful hotel, and I was having a beer on my own before the game, and there's a guy next to me having a beer on his own, and he looked at me and said, are you a loner as well? And I was like, yeah. And we got speaking, and I was like, well, what do you do? And anyway, after speaking for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, he earns 10 million quid passive income a month. He's got 20 companies. He's built a bank out in Dubai for one of the sheikhs, and got his WhatsApp, LinkedIn, and we're going to speak and do business together.
Madness.
So like that's my sort of networking, going to nice places and just speaking to people. Yeah. Rather than a standard property event.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, and we were just having that conversation with people before. Like I'm not a fan of them at all. That's why I started this, to network with people and speak to people like yourself. And and I think it's one-on-one. It's a good connection, and you're actually speaking to people on a level and stuff. Whereas the networking event, it's like, I don't know, it's all the same shit, isn't it? Yeah, all the time.
Mortgage brokers, insurance brokers. Yeah, which is great for them. Yeah, like, I'm not complaining about that. Yeah, but it's not, doesn't benefit us.
But I like that you're having a bevy on your own, a nice hotel, and then someone comes up to you. That's incredible, mate. But like we were saying again before, like even your gym pass and stuff like that, being in gyms where it may be 150, 200 quid a month, but you're around them people, you can have good conversations. But yeah, I love that, mate. That's incredible. So raising finance then, how are you approaching investors? Are you just, is it on an opportunity basis? Are you asking for the money in a loan? Are you, say this guy last night, you've met him, you speak to him again in the future, how do you plan to raise finance from that? Do you say to them, we've got an opportunity here, do you want to get involved? Or do you go, listen, we want a loan basis, give us 100 grand, we'll give you. Do you know what I mean? How do you do it?
It's a bit of both.
Horses
we
for
do
courses.
We do a lot of JVs. JVs are great for de-risking your position in a project. I think the biggest thing is people get into property, jump on bridging finance and get loads of loans, and it's like personal guarantees, and then you get stressed. Don't get me wrong, we're still mega stressed, but we position ourselves quite nicely where our position is de-risked. And obviously you're not going in there thinking that there's going to be an issue, but anything can happen. So we'll do loans, JVs. I'm not emotional when I'm speaking to people about it. I sort of pitch it as, listen, I'm going to do this deal. Do you want to be involved or not? I'm going to do it without you. If you don't want to be involved, I'm just going to do it anyway. Yeah. And so a lot of people are too beggy for finance. Yeah. And push too much. I just speak to them and say, I'm going to do this deal with you, me, or somebody else. So I don't really care if you're in it or not. Yeah. Do you want to be in it? And so that's probably the best way of speaking to them. And I'm just incredibly relentless at speaking to people. Even if I think it's going to be a pointless conversation, I'll still speak to them. People say they struggle to raise finance, but they're speaking to like 10 people, 100 people. Yeah. I think I've probably spoken to all 6,000 of my LinkedIn connections. Yeah. Every single one of them. Yeah. Because you just got to do it. You got to put yourself out there. Even if you think this person is a builder, he's not going to have 200 grand to invest in this project. Well, he might know someone that has got 200 grand to invest. So like you would have thought that that's a pointless conversation, but it actually turns out not to be, because he knows someone that's got cash to invest. Yeah. So it's just always approach people and speak to them.
That's interesting, mate. Very interesting. And like you say about the it's mad. And it like you say, there's no secret to it. It's just putting the work and putting the graft in. And
social media is great as well.
Social media is, it's spot on. It's spot on. But like you say, putting the graft in and speaking to people. But I've been terrible at that, to be honest. I've been very secretive. I don't know why. It's fucking stupid, to be honest, but I've been very secretive when I was buying projects and stuff like that. I've always used my own money, but I'm in a position now where I want to start to raise finance, and no one really knows what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? Until I started the Instagram and the podcast and stuff like that. That's why this year I'm trying to sort of put myself out there and speak to people, which you do obviously brilliantly.
To be fair, I only started Instagram 6 months ago.
Did you?
Yeah. So
you're flying then, mate, aren't you? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's gone pretty mad, to be fair. And even that's just helped, like being able to post a story of like, I need 100 grand, and you'd be able to get it straight away. But I had like 3 years of pure graft and hard work and shit times before I jumped on social media. So obviously now I've got a good story to tell. Yeah. I have loads of proof. Yeah. Like I'm not a fake property investor. Like there's a lot of people out there. Like there's sort of everything is documented. Yeah. So yeah, social media is key for raising finance, because I wish we did it like earlier, to be fair. Everyone
I speak to says the same thing as well. A lot of people say like LinkedIn. I don't know many people. Again, I'm probably not clocked in or not tuned into it, but like I don't know many property people. Obviously there's fucking probably tons, but you know, utilising LinkedIn as much as people are utilising Instagram. And I imagine there's a lot more money on LinkedIn. I could be wrong. Like
I probably wouldn't be sat here now if it weren't for LinkedIn.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. 95% of my business in the last 4 years is LinkedIn.
That's mad.
And people are well shocked when I talk about that. But like, it's just like, build your avatar out. Like, who is your ideal investor? Who's your ideal person that you want to source to? On LinkedIn, you can find everyone. You can find people that can sell your stock. You can find people that can invest in your stock. People that will buy it. People that own property that you can get off market. Like, it's a mental platform. Just filtering by locations. Like, you can filter by Knightsbridge in London, and every single person in there will be rich. You're like, drop them all a message, tell them what you do, and it's that simple. But people don't want to put the work in. And I used to sit on trains on my phone, just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Obviously, I don't do that now. But when we started, that was the play.
Now it's a case of people coming to you.
Yeah, we still reach out when we need stuff. It's just more personalised, and like we were young back then and just going mad.
I'm saying it. I'm sitting here saying, yeah, true. But I'm the exact same. I don't post on LinkedIn at all, and I'm meeting my mate tonight, and he's quite big on LinkedIn. I've been saying to him, how do I approach this? He's like, just fucking do it, mate. Jesus Christ, just post on it and just. But I think, it's a weird one, but I think there's a lot of money on LinkedIn, clearly.
The reach is crazy on LinkedIn as well.
Exactly.
It's like TikTok.
Yeah.
It's like you post something, like if you post something on Instagram, you might get like 1,000 people that watch a reel and you might get like 20 likes. You post something on LinkedIn, you go in the next morning, it's like 10,000 impressions. You're like, what?
Yeah.
And then that's just people liking it. Because then when they like it, shares it to all of their network.
Yeah.
And so it's like the algorithm's really, really strange.
It's a good platform. And obviously, you've raised over 8 figures, is that right?
Nearly 8 figures.
That's fucking crazy, mate.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And that's obviously, like we said, putting the graft in and whatever. But what is your plan then for the Piccadilly one? Is it to keep or flip or?
Just flip.
Flip.
Yeah.
Is that your strategy now, do you think, moving forward? A lot of flips?
So we changed our strategy so that for the HMOs, we were always going to sell. Every single HMO we do, sell, 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 with the lease in place. We've changed that completely now. So the 26 that we own, we're going to keep for a very long time. And so the strategy is to get that portfolio to probably about 100 HMOs over the next like 5 years. It'll probably take us a bit longer. And that will be sort of our add into sort of cash flow, but then long-term wealth as well. And just being a bit more selective with what we buy. When we were buying 5 a month, we were buying anything. That's why we could buy 5 a month. So like the numbers were like, the yields were great. Like we're getting like 13, 14% net yield. But the like we were buying bought like a 80 grand house for 90 grand. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So we weren't buying sensible, but you live and you learn. And then commercial to resi, probably just try and do 1 a year and just flip them on just to build the cash pot back up.
And is the reason you're trying to build the cash flow up? Obviously, cash flow is needed in any business, but is it because of what happened and because of the, like? Yeah,
I guess so. I think anything can happen, and like it's just a good wealth builder. Yeah. And it provides cash flow, but we mapped it all out on paper. About 2 weeks ago when we sat down with the investor and he just pushed the numbers in front of us and was like, if we keep this portfolio and they're the numbers it's pulling in rent every single month, then that's where we'll be in 10 years. And you look at it and you're like holy shit, like the numbers are really good. Yeah. So the current portfolio probably it's at 50% occupancy. It pulls in this month 53k gross.
Fucking hell, mate.
At 50% occupancy.
Have you got any other interests in business at all, or is property just the one for you?
Property's just the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's good. I love it.
I just absolutely love it. Yeah. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. And we are building like another company. You've probably seen at AFPI Network.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
That's an interesting one. We're going to push that on 1st of May.
So what is that then? Tell the people who listen. What is that? Is it just a network of? Is that property people or is that?
Yeah. So it's solely focused on property people, and it's giving people what we wish we had when we first started. So it's going to give people. I've actually never told anyone what it is yet. No one knows, other than the business partners and investors and stuff.
If you don't want to talk about it,
no, it's fine. It's probably a good thing. Yeah. We'll launch it on May the 1st, and I think we got frustrated with people charging like £10,000 for education. Yeah. And like we've done what we say we've done, and we don't want to become a course seller. But what we do want to do, and it's also a selfish way of doing it because it helps us in the long run, is build a network of active investors and developers that one can learn. So they can learn every single strategy, and it's not like it's a buy-to-let, it's a HMO. It's everything that's in our head is out on paper, videos, us speaking to the camera. You also get access to our black book. So this is something that we wish we had, and nobody will ever give away their black book because it's theirs. We're fine doing it because everyone in that black book is our friend. The people that we work with are all our best mates. So in the network, you'll literally have a few A4 pieces of paper that will literally give you every single connection that we've ever worked with. So if you need someone for building regs, there's email and phone number, speak to that person. If you need someone to do your EPC, email, phone number. And like that takes years and years and thousands of pounds of mistakes to get. Yeah. And then the best thing is it creates a network where there's 24/7 support. If you have a question, does this project work? How do I do this floor plan? What do we need to do with a fire door? You just put it in the community, gets answered straight away by us, by other people within the community. And then there's the ability for people to monetize their spot within the community. So instead of charging people thousands of pounds to post in their WhatsApp group to sell a deal, if you have a deal and you're part of a network, you post it in the network. Like if you post a deal in there that's a 40 grand profit flip, I'll pay you a source fee for it. And so like people can monetize their spot within the community. And it's super low ticket. And it's also a selfish way for us because we get to build up our network. We get to get closer with other people, and the networking events are going to be going to the races and going out for dinner and stuff like that. So quite exciting.
Yeah, sounds good. Makes it sound really good. Is that like a monthly sort of subscription sort of thing? Yeah,
low ticket monthly subscription, making it sort of like accessible to everyone without spending 10 grand on a course.
That's it. Because a lot of these people, like I had a lad on before, Keenan Malone, he's done like a course and it's like 250 quid, and the same stuff is on it is the same stuff that's on them 10 grand, 15 grand courses, but it's just marketed different or whatever.
100%.
Or they're just paying for Google ads or something.
So the support is the main thing as well. Like you can get taught everything, but if you have a question on what is building regs, like even if you have a course that says this is what building regs is, people still have questions about it. You can just ask. Like we have monthly calls, weekly calls, bi-weekly calls. You can just ask anything. And it's that support that people need when they start. And a lot of people say, well, why are you doing this if you're making so much money in property? And it's like, well, this benefits us. Because if people are posting deals in the group, we're going to get access to these deals as well. We can sell deals within the group. And it's a good feeling. We do a lot of supported housing. Obviously, you can make good money off it, but the satisfaction that you actually get out of it, housing people that are vulnerable, is unreal. And I think you probably get the same sort of satisfaction as helping someone, start their property business, because we wish we had exactly that when we started.
Most definitely. One thing you did benefit from, obviously, was business partners. How sort of important were they to you? Because like now I'm sort of on my own doing it. Like Bird helps me, but she's not really like immersed in property like I am. I imagine it sounds like your business partners were immersed in it, and everything's just property. So how important were they to you, your two business partners? Yeah,
important.
Yeah. What I probably should have asked is how, obviously these were your mates in school, weren't they? How did that work? Do you know what I mean? Like, if I went into business with I am going into business with my mate, but like, it's an awkward one, innit? It could either make or break a relationship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So is it just a case of you being best mates and being able to say, listen, you're doing that wrong, or you're fucking up, or just being straight with each other?
Yeah, we're very straight with each other.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely have disagreements.
That's what you want.
But we're all extremely different people.
That's what you want.
We are like, they're twin brothers, but they are different and even look different. I'm completely different. Like, we all like going out for a beer. We love the football. Like, we're still the sort of same lads. But I'm more like client facing. We'll get out and speak to people. Alex does not do that. Like, he probably couldn't think of anything worse. He looks after sort of the back office, making sure that, like, I'm 100% all systems go. Alex is the one that pulls me back, which is great. Adam, like, genuinely just sits right in the middle. He's got a bit of me and a bit of Alex. So it works perfect, and it just happened that way.
That's what I mean. Like, it's the beautiful thing about business partners. Like, I'm very like that. I'm outgoing, but like you say, like you're a business partner who doesn't really want to speak to people, or and obviously when you're on your own, you have to do them things.
Yeah.
And there's a few years you can afford someone to go all in on that. They go all in on that. So it's an amazing thing, and especially that you've been mates in school and stuff like that. Grew up together, know each other's, like, you can tell them when they're being wrong. There's not that awkward relationship there. You can just tell someone, tell them straight, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Go on, sorry.
No, crack on, mate.
No, what are your sort of goals for this year? Then get this, obviously, this project done in Piccadilly.
Yeah, finish. So we finished one of the commercial to resi. So just finish the other one, which will be in the next couple of months. Start and potentially finish on Piccadilly, depending on the build and how late we start. And just stabilise that portfolio. We're going to get the portfolio up to about 75-80% occupancy. and then we've got cash to use now. Not our cash, just cash that's been raised. We've got people sitting in the wings for JVs or loans. We just don't have any deals. So we want to probably do 3 flips, houses.
And what are you looking at in terms of what is a deal to you at the moment?
It depends whether it's a loan or a JV in terms of how much profit. Probably JV, 50k profit, 25 split down the middle is fine. Can probably be a little bit less profit if it's a loan. It just depends, but we're just looking for straight up flips, relatively simple deals.
Yeah, and is that solely Manchester?
No, anywhere.
Anywhere?
Yeah. We've never been good at finding deals. Like, a lot of people probably think like we're really good at everything. Like, oh, one of them must be a QS, one of them must have worked in property. Like, none of us worked in property. None of us are good at like everything. In fact, we're like pretty shit at everything. We're good at putting the right people in place. All of our deals come from, and like people think that there's a magic code to finding a deal. Like, for us, there never has been. Nothing's really ever worked for us. We work a lot with deal sources, agents, Rightmove. Like, there's great deals on Rightmove. Like, if you know how to appraise a deal properly, there's good deals out there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll just work with sources. So, anyone got any deals?
Let us know. Way,
yeah, 100%.
That's it. I might have a few for you, to be fair. But
yeah, nice.
Interesting, mate. And the commercial to resi one, then, what's the strip of that? Is that HMO? Commercial to resi HMO? Or?
No. The Piccadilly one. Or the other one.
Is that the one? Sorry, I thought you had another.
Yeah, so we finished, it was a derelict building, derelict for 30 years. Like, it was fucked inside. Yeah. Took that through planning. That's 3 flats, 1 2-bed, 2 1-beds. It's just been passed over to the children's care provider. That one looks unreal, to be fair. And then we've got 9 flats in Yorkshire, which is going to a children's care provider. That's been an interesting site with a lot of stuff going on in the background. And yeah, we got the Piccadilly. So they're all apartments. Yeah.
Spot on, mate. Well, if anyone is looking to connect with you or, you know, throw some deals your way, where is the best place? I'm sure most people are onto you anyway, because you have, like you say, how many followers you got on Instagram? Because you blew up in 6 months. Like, that's crazy.
I don't know. Like, four something.
Yeah, I thought you blew up quite quick, to be honest, like, for being on 6 months. But I think one thing with you is you're quite honest. But you are honest. You're raw and real. So, like, with the social housing side, I've never seen, like we mentioned before and touched on, people say like, how safe it is and stuff like that. You're on video showing, like, the of the house, how bad it is and stuff.
I think people don't show the bad side.
No, they don't.
Like, there's probably more bad times than great times. In property. It's not plain sailing. Like I said, last year was probably the worst year of my life. And so people don't show that side, and that's the side people want to see, and they need to see that side before they make a decision to get into property. So yeah, I like to be as real as possible, but just Instagram.
Just Instagram.
Obviously LinkedIn. LinkedIn, don't really use TikTok. I've posted a few videos. I'm sick of the hate.
It is hate on TikTok.
Oh, mate, it's carnage. Scum landlord. Cry me a river.
Well, thank you for coming on, mate. I appreciate you coming on and making the trip.
No, all good.
So, thanks very much, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Thanks, mate. Yeah, likewise.